on.
All right, all right, all right. Hello, Oasis.
How y'all doing?
Living the dream over here, you know? Yeah.
You're over there in fog land.
I really kind of am. It's fun.
is it really a day?
Yeah, right, right. I was talking to Pastor Bradley about, I just man, we're tired. Tired, like yesterday he was on, he had Discover Oasis that he led by himself.
Yep.
And and then preached right after. So it's kind of like a sermon, then turn around and do another sermon that was completely different. So you don't even get to use the same material twice. And then yesterday we had our meal. So it's just he was on visiting, and
People are draining. Let's just
yeah.
wrap all that up.
I love y'all, but peopling is hard sometimes. Yeah, and he was feeling it, and so today I think we all kind of have the 1,000-yard stare, where it's like I don't know where we're coming or going, or I can't decide if I care or not. But we do certainly. And yesterday was it was a super busy. This weekend was a super busy weekend, and it sure was cool to just see people together, and really just good vibe. It really was. So, hey, I want to take a moment from this platform to say, to tell Jessica Miller, who usually is on here with us, just thank you for yesterday lining up that meal and really kind of taking that. Her and Leslie Fowler, they just kind of worked in tandem and took different aspects of that, and it was super cool to see that. I have moment of confession. I have some pretty serious control issues, and so it was difficult to not have my hands involved and all the things that go with that. But those ladies, they just took care of it. Casino on the Go for supplying some really good food, and I think it was
And donating.
yeah, and donated that. So for those of you who watch this and will watch it and everything like that, please go support them. They're on Facebook. Go check them out. Go find her page, Cocina on the Go. Go find them, support them, track them down, and go and throw some funds at them. They donated all of that, and I know for a fact they lost a little bit of money to do this. And but talking to her, she was committed to. She believes in what we were doing. We can support that. We can support that. So thank you to all that were involved. Thank you to everybody who came and supported the mission trip to Honduras. It is going to be that trip is going to be incredible. And the reason I know it's going to be incredible, we have hiccups that are going on. And
What you talking about? Like the government's involved or something?
yeah, it's government, and it's entities that want their money. And it's not manna. Manna is not it. That's not the problem. Let's be honest. Christians believe in let your yes be yes and your no be no. Everybody else is going to make money off of it somehow. So just continue to pray. We are going to Honduras.
Yeah,
That
I'm
is
excited.
happening. And the Lord will be glorified. Hiccups and all, we're going to get back from that trip, and we're going to declare that the God of all creation is good.
I'm excited how the group is going to be impacted. And
I am too. I am too.
I was just thinking about earlier, and there's a group of individuals of our church that they're going to be moved by God.
Yeah.
Not just moved as in going, but moved once they get there and realize man, this is the impact and power of saying yes to God.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really cool trip, and I'm excited with that. I was at camp last week and just looking over that list, and it's kind of trying to put out a few fires and all the things that kind of go, and just praying about it. And I think the individuals that are going are the right individuals for our church to just push other people. And let's be honest, man, a short-term mission trip is about those that are going. It impacts a lot, but it's about the education and the instilling of something inside of the church that is sending them. And so I'm excited about that. They're going to come back, and it's a lot of people that have a lot of influence, and that's cool. that's just cool to me. So I'm glad that we get to be a part of it. And again, a lot of the times, any type of resistance that anybody has, there's a book by Stephen Pressfield. It's called The War of Art, not The Art of War by Sun Tzu, but The War of Art. And it's talking about the creative process. And inside that creative process, he talks about the aspect of resistance is what he calls the pressure that you don't do it, or the outside pressure that keeps you from doing things. And he says that resistance tends to always point towards true north. And I agree with that. You know, and in this process of, I can take it a bunch of different ways of companies are irritating, companies are doing this. I can give Satan more credit than I think that he needs in this, or we can look at it and say, I think this is true north. I think we're right. Some good momentum. And so let's just go ahead and give God glory on the front end, and then we get to give God glory during, and then give God glory on the tail end of it. And so that's just what we need to choose to do. So for those of you guys, continue to pray for that mission trip. But then also, let's just go ahead and start telling him thanks for what he's going to do. I think we just need to go ahead and claim that victory in the advance. So today, what I'm going to talk about is still continuing through the churches in the book of Revelation. And this is Jesus telling John in a vision to write these letters to these churches. And we're almost done, actually. We're down to where we have two more. One, and then next week's lukewarm church, which everybody, that's just a fun one to talk about. Everybody knows somebody because somebody's on the fence and all of that. But today it's the church at Philadelphia, the literally meaning brotherly love. And I love what this passage is talking about, because this is one of the churches that really Jesus, he gives some pretty hefty accolades to a church that probably is hurting a little bit. So verse 7, Revelation chapter 3, starting verse 7, and it says, "And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write the words of the Holy One, the true One, who has the key of David, who opens and no one will shut, who shuts and no one opens. I know your works. Behold, I have set before you an open door which no one is able to shut. I know you have but little power, and yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. Behold, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say they are Jews and are not, but lie. Behold, I will make them come and bow down before your feet, and they will learn that I have loved you." God, that's a strong statement. They will learn that I have loved you. "Because you have kept my word about patient endurance. I will keep you from the hour of trial that is coming on the whole world, to try those who dwell on the earth. I am coming soon. Hold fast what you have, so that no one may seize your crown. The one who conquers, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. Never shall we go out of it. Never shall he go out of it. And I will write on him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, the whole Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem, which comes down from my God out of heaven, and my own new name. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches." All right, so there's a lot going on here. There's a lot, and what I really want to just kind of dive in on is one, this little church that's in this city that is probably being hounded by external pressure and to stand their ground, to hold true, and people are pressuring them to be more like the world and to concede some of the things that are going on in the city, right? And I'm not going to lie to you, that as I'm sitting here reading it, and as I read it earlier, I think we find ourselves squarely in this place now. We are not Philadelphia, and I'm not going to say that. This is this entity. We're just reading the mail, literally. But I think that there's some messages that we can take from this, that our church, but the church, Christianity in the United States, truly is under attack, and it's slowly becoming a minority, and and different discussions. And external pressure is looking at us saying that this is what we need to believe, and this is how we need to act. But that's not our calling. Our calling is to remain true to what God has given us. It is to remain true to the things that we know are truth, and that is through Christ, and it is Christ, and it is Him glorified, it is Him crucified, it is Him buried, and it is Him risen. And all of these things we should, and this is what I love, we as Christians have an amazing opportunity in the world today to be an example of what true faith looks like. To love one another well, and to love everybody else well, and to love not out of tolerance. We love that others would know God.
Yeah.
And I think that's what was going on here, because it tells us that that they had been given this open door to talk to individuals, and they remained true to the word. They remained true to their original calling. I mean, that's powerful. You think about this from. Can you imagine getting this letter in the mail from? So this is John, and I'm speaking on behalf of Jesus. Hey, good job. You just need a minute, right? Like when Jesus gives you the accolade.
Yeah.
And he just did this because in verse 10, because you have kept my word about patient endurance. And then he goes on and says that I will be faithful. I will keep you from the hour of trial that is coming on the whole world. God will sustain us. And we've got to believe that. Folks, we have got to believe that God is going to sustain us. We have to remain true. We have to remain true to Christ and what He has taught us and what He has called us to be. We have got to remain true to that. We are not always going to be the most popular side of the fence. Let's just be honest. And historically, that has always happened. But we have got to remain true, even in persecution, even if people look at us and say, call us names, even if we are minimized and everything else. Remain true to what God has called us. And He has called us to love, again, one another, love other people, but above all, preach the gospel, the good news that it is Christ. It is Christ crucified, buried, and resurrected for the wages of our sin, that we would know God. That is the most important thing. And the reality is people are not going to like that.
No.
They don't want that, but the Scripture tells us that. They're going to hate us because they hate Jesus. And what does that mean? We go to work anyway. God is going to provide for us, and we're going to be okay. We just have to remain. So that's kind of my bit. It's not my bit, man. This is kind of strong, actually.
Strong enough.
Strong enough.
And,
So
and that statement that He said of, and they will learn that I loved you. Like,
yeah,
man, if there's love with teeth, it's that statement.
it is. They'll know. They will know. And so vengeance is not ours, man. And we don't have to go out and. I assure you, we do not have to go out and prove God's existence on Facebook. They will know that. And they're guaranteed to know it by our lifestyle. But they will know in the end either way.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and that's just the amazing element of what we've been called to be. I want to start this topic for the next couple of weeks, let's say at least 3 weeks, let's throw it out there. And it's this element of fruit of the Spirit. And one thing that I want us to kind of think about when it comes to this reality of fruit, I know a lot of times we all think of man, the deliciousness, the stickiness, the sugar, the bright colors, everything that is amazing about fruit. But one thing that really kind of gets left out is where the fruit came from, how the fruit was produced. And there was this challenge last week. I was kind of thinking, actually, there was a little text sharing of those at camp and from camp of challenging, man, what were you reading this week? And last week, it was this challenge of, man, am I just intaking the fruit, or am I producing fruit? Particularly this fruit of the Spirit in Galatians chapter 5. But before we get to the good, and you have to identify what the other side is, what the opposition is. And that's where Paul starts off in Galatians 5 and verse 16. He says, "But I say to you, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. For the desires of the flesh are against the Spirit, and the desires of the Spirit are against the flesh. And for they are opposed to each other, to keep you from doing the things that you want to do. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under law. Now the works of the flesh are evident: sexual immorality, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, jealousy, fits of anger, rivalries, dissension, division, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and things like these. I warn you, as I warned you before, that those who do such things do not inherit the kingdom of God." This is as far as we're going to go today, just looking at this reality of the fruit of the Spirit, because I think one thing that can help us identify if we're consuming too much, and really when you're consuming, there's a good chance you're not producing. I know some people are like, well, I'm just on this perpetual cycle of I produce good fruit and then I consume it. It's like, well, we're going to get to a little bit to that seed of what that really is, when you can produce something and then you just consume it. Little hint before someone else gets a chance to. Just throwing it out there. But in this reality of where the fruit comes from, and it comes from a tree. Most fruit comes from a tree. And one of my favorite passages is Psalms 1, particularly 1, verse 1 through 3, where it says, man, if we desire the word of the Lord, particularly it says that his law, if we desire his law, that we'll be like a tree planted by a river, and that stream and its leaf will never wither, and its fruit comes within season. And so this particular area of what's kind of going down, because there's a lot of things that Paul lists on this, that some of them arguably could be said he listed them twice. And when things are listed twice, let's be honest, you're supposed to pay attention to that. it's not that of like, oh, you didn't hear that? No, it's what happens when I said it twice. There's a reason for that.
I said it twice, the same way.
And so
That's awesome.
I kind of broke this down into three lists, just to kind of make it, I guess, a little bit more malleable for us to really kind of pay attention. Because there's words in there that, let's be honest, we don't pay attention to them because we're like, oh, I'm not that person.
Yeah, sure.
And we just kind of rub it off. But here's some things, and they actually all start with C, just to kind of keep that pastor in me alive and well. And it's, again, this is all in this area hinges on where we point our desire. This area of us, are we producing fruit or are we just consuming fruit? And what Paul says, he says, you're either desiring the flesh or you're desiring the Spirit. And so the first one is a desire of consumption. If you simply just desire to consume, and this is very much me, man, I'm all about like flavor. So I'm like, oh, we want to drink from the store? I don't care, anything with flavor, like juice, soda, whatever. It doesn't matter. I just want flavor.
Yep.
And I've passed that on to my children of always having flavor. So I'm all about the consumption. And then, man, there's just baked goods. Like,
Let's be honest. The Lord is in it.
yes. Like there is a reason that we're supposed to have gluten, and those of you who can't handle it, I'm sorry. Some scientist somewhere in the lab messed that up for half the world, it seems like. But man, baked goods, I'm all about it. Like that's the reason I want to go to Italy. Like,
But I'll take yours.
exactly. So keep those people around. Like, oh, you can have that. I love it when Chelsea's in the office, right? This consumption. But here's one verse I want to add to this, and this is in Jude 4. It says, for certain people have crept in unnoticed, and who long ago were designated for the condemnation of the ungodly people who pervert the grace of God. That right there, I just want to stop right there, because that's really us in this area of consumption, perverting the grace of God. In other words, you've changed what God gave that was good, and you took so much of it that no one else had a chance. So you perverted the grace of God when you put let's be honest, a bad taste in someone else's mouth of what God's grace is really supposed to be, and it's for everyone. It's not just for ourselves. And so this area of consumption gets us to the point where we might be in this dangerous phrase of, well, it's not a sin and it came from God, therefore I'm just going to take it. And I think that is a dangerous place for us to simply be in of, this isn't a sin because I'm just consuming. I'm just taking something that is good, that is naturally growing, or that is good for me, and we write that off as, oh, this is God's grace, full tilt. So consumption's the first one. The next one is its evil, ugly cousin, a desire of control. As you were talking about earlier, like, man, that struggle is real in any leader, of wanting to be in control. And the reliance of this is when he was talking about sorcery, of where you find your strength. What do you go to? Is it this superstition, us looking at how we go about things, and very much in the sports world of like, man, sorry, baseball and hockey guys, like most superstitious people ever, really.
Oh, for real.
But there's all these elements of like, we think things had to go a particular way in order for it to be perfect. And then, man, inside that perspective right there, you have killed the touch of God, because it's what you deemed to be perfect. It's what you deemed to be good and right, not what is known and given to you as good and right. So this area of desire of control. And the last one is a desire of conceit or selfishness. All of these list of things that come into it, they get into this realm of us really just looking at ourselves, and we are hostile to anything else that even wants to kind of come in and even kind of really sometimes look at the picture. We're hostile to like, no, I don't need you in this right now. I don't need you a part of this. This is just for me. This is just for me and those who I deem fit. And so this relatives list of us being consumers of the fruit, and these are dangerous areas. I believe that if we're just in consumption, we want to be in control, or just think of ourselves that we are conceited enough, thinking that there's no one else that we need to be considerate of, or we've been considerate enough. Man, to that, and I think Jesus has words as Donnie's been going through the list of churches to those people who think that they've arrived, who think that they've done all the good that they can do, and the reality is, like, man, it's just a perpetual cycle of us to continue to do good, us to continue to want to stir up good in each other, and this is the amazing thing of when we get to the fruit of the Spirit, man. There's one word that we'll get into it, or a phrase, and it says that, and there is no constraint, there is no limit, there is no law when it comes to experiencing and giving the fruits of the Spirit. And so much so, we look at that, we look at that last little element of it, of there's no constraint on it, but we've turned it inward to be controlled, to consume, and to be selfish. And so this is a really hard perspective that we really need to pay attention in. When it comes to the fruit of the Spirit, because we look at everything that is good about us, and we think that, man, we just need to keep building that up, and we do, but it's not just to the area of us consuming and dictating for ourselves.
Sure.
And I think that's where we go wrong with the fruit of the Spirit, is we don't realize we're just consuming it.
I think that's and I appreciate using those those particular words with consumption and production. So I think that's a mark of a believer that is maturing in their faith, is they realize that they're moving, or that they are in fact consumers at the beginning of their faith. They're consumers. Yeah. We all are. We're trying to figure this out. We're trying to figure out how to fit Jesus in, and all the things that go into it. And I think the closer that we get to the Lord, and the closer that we get to understanding our faith, we cease fitting Jesus in, and we realize that our identity is in fact in Him. And I think when that happens, we begin to move over. There's a breakover point where we're less consumer and we're more producer. And our goal is to be more producer. We're to bear the fruit.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a heart condition I think that we just have to get past to get to that point. You know, there's a moment of humility and a moment of decision of we're just going to have to go in and learn more and make this about something other than us. And that's a difficult decision, and I certainly don't blame anyone. I struggle with that myself. I know better and I see better, but you know, I just have those moments of weakness. But the reality is training myself and us training ourselves to be more disciplined, to chase after. I want more of God, so that I can show more of God, and I can bear more of God. So That's strong. I appreciate you showing that side of it first. I think that's a big deal. You know, we have to understand the nature of it.
Yeah, we do.
To really appreciate the other side. So, yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we're done. It's been a long one today. This is the longest one we've done.
Oh, goodness.
Man, we're
Yeah.
running on records. You guys were there. You were this many years old. So it's good to see everyone. It is going to be July shortly. And for those of you guys who don't know this, July is going to be a hitting month for us.
Running and gunning.
Yeah, there's something going on all the time. We have kids camps, and we have mission trips, and we have a lot of stuff. We have cookouts, and so it's going to be super cool, but super busy. So if you guys would, as always, continue to pray for the ministries that we have up here, and those of you who are involved with it, thanks for your service. But as always, let's go ahead and give God thanks for, man, we get to do this.
Yeah.
We get to represent Christ, and we get a chance to be involved, and that's just pretty awesome. So please join us in praying for that. Cool. Love you guys, and we'll see you later.